artist who was working in semi-slavery for a forger of antiquities when the elder Emersons found and freed him. The grandson of their Egyptian Rais or foreman, Abdullah, of whom more hereafter, he became Ramses' blood brother and eventually his cousin by marriage when David wed Leah Emerson. Leah and David also produced a third generation, a girl named after Evelyn Emerson, and a boy named for his great-grandfather, Abdullah. The Emersons had very little to do with Amelia's Peabody kin, an unattractive lot who produced one of the nastiest villains they ever encountered. The only good thing Percy ever did was produce a child, little Senya, who was adopted by the Emersons and became very dear to them. However, Amelia considered herself to have a second family in a group of Egyptians who were the blood relations of their Rais Abdullah. Abdullah's innumerable relatives worked for the Emersons on the dig and in the household. Several became close friends of the Emersons, including Selim, Abdullah's youngest son, who replaced his father as Rais after Abdullah's heroic death. Daoud, Abdullah's nephew, noted for his immense strength, amiable disposition and love of gossip. Fatima, Abdullah's daughter-in-law, who became the Emersons' indispensable housekeeper. Khadija, Daoud's wife, the dispenser of an amazingly effective green ointment, and, of course, David Todros. As Amelia mentions, Egyptians are fond of nicknames. So it would appear were the Emersons. Ramses and Leah are constantly referred to by those names. Amelia secretly appreciated her flattering appellation of Sit Hakim, Lady Doctor, though she was equally appreciative of her husband's habit of calling her by her maiden name of Peabody as a demonstration of equality and affection. Emerson detested his given name and preferred to be addressed by his surname or by his Egyptian sobriquet, Father of Curses, which, as his wife admits, was well-deserved despite her effort to cure him of using bad language. Nefret was known to many Egyptians as Nur Misur, Light of Egypt. Her husband's less charming Egyptian name was Brother of Demons. It was meant as a compliment, however, acknowledging his varied abilities in disguise and languages. One other member of the family had a plethora of pseudonyms. When Amelia and Emerson first encountered Sethos, a.k.a. the master criminal, a.k.a. the master, they regarded him as a deadly enemy, head of the illegal antiquities racket in Egypt and the Middle East, and Emerson's rival for Amelia's affections. It came as a considerable shock to them, and, the editor must admit, to her, when they discovered he was Emerson's illegitimate half-brother. During the First World War he redeemed himself by serving as a secret agent, a role for which he was well qualified by his skill in the art of disguise and his knowledge of the Middle East. Ramses, who had similar talents, was also recruited for the Secret Service and carried out several perilous missions in Egypt and the Middle East. His best friend David served with him on one of these jobs. The editor suspects David may have been involved in at least one other, but unfortunately the journals for several of the war years are still missing. Sethos, much to the surprise of everyone except Amelia, who claimed the credit for reforming him, became a friend and supporter. And now, dear readers, the Great War has ended and the family is about to be reunited. The saga continues. And now, Children of the Storm.
Chapter 1. The encrimsoned sun sank slowly toward the crest of the Theban mountains. Another glorious Egyptian sunset burned against the horizon like fire in the heavens. In fact, I did not at that moment behold it, since I was facing east. I had seen hundreds of sunsets, however, and my excellent imagination supplied a suitable mental picture. As the sky over Luxor darkened, the shadows of the bars covering doors and windows lengthened and blurred, lying like a tiger's stripes across the two forms squatting on the floor. One of them said, "Spasiba." "Russian," Ramses muttered, scribbling on his notepad.